What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the MPower Show. I am Markeith Brayton and my co host.
Donzaleigh Powell.
And we want to thank you for joining us for another week of the MPower Show. And we're coming to you just a little bit differently today because we are virtual. And we're virtual for a very good reason. As you can see, we have on our pink because we could not let the month of October go by without acknowledging Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And Donzaleigh, this was her inspiration to make sure that we did do a show around breast cancer awareness, and I thought it would be a great idea. And so, Donzaleigh, talk a little bit about why it was so important to have this show before we let the month go.
Absolutely. Super important. I've seen many women and families impacted by breast cancer. And I think sometimes it's good to not only have some education, but also be able to see the brighter side that can come afterwards, after the storm. Um, I wanted to make sure that Celeste was kind of spotlighted because I think she kind of embodies everything that, you can think of regarding breast cancer, and she's very open and transparent, and then also even her entrepreneurial journey in this I think is amazing.
Yeah, I think it's great that you brought a guest on today because I think sometimes, we hear cancer so often. We
Mhm.
are starting, you start to believe it's just a normal thing that people go
Mhm.
through because you just hear it so often. And I love to, hear the stories of those who are breast cancer survivors, those who have been able to successfully go through their journey to be able to inspire somebody else who may be entering into the journey, going through the journey, or to inspire people to be more aware of how they could take care of themselves to keep them from maybe going down the journey.
Right.
So I'm so
Yes.
appreciative of this opportunity. So we're going to go ahead and bring in our guest. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Empower Show. Welcome, Celeste.
Thank you.
So go ahead and share a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you show up in the world every day, and then we'll get into your story.
Woo, how I show up in the world every day varies tremendously based on this business. My name is Celeste Black. I go by M. Celeste Black. I'm originally from Upper East Tennessee, Johnson City, Kingsport area, but I've lived in Nashville for like 18, 19 years. And as Donzaleigh has advised, we actually connected as I was going through my stage 3B breast cancer
Mhm.
journey. Um, Let me stop right there and celebrate. This is my 10 years. I was diagnosed at
Yes.
so
Okay.
yay! 10 years cancer free. So that's amazing, especially with my diagnosis. Um, but yeah, I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 40.
Mhm.
Um, Never thought that that would be my way of life or anything that would happen to me. My mom actually passed away from a massive heart attack. So cancer wasn't even on the horizon for me. So it was a shocker. But looking back at it, as Donzaleigh knows, I tell my story and everything happens for a reason that changed my life. And I went through a lot of trauma. And as they say, if you go through it, you get 7 times better, 10 times better later on. I'm getting sometimes better. I don't know what it is, but I think I'm better. I'm better as a person. So, um, yeah, that's kind of the beginnings of my story. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'll just say I remember when I first saw Celeste's story online. Somebody had posted about her, and it was a couple of pictures of her with the bald head and all of that. And I just immediately was like, wow. Just the way that they described, I guess her experience as far as having to get her hair cut off. Because for a woman, y'all know we are serious about our hair. We're very serious about our hair. And so she was sharing some of the information as far as sitting in that barber chair. And at first he didn't even want to cut a lady's hair. And it
Mhm.
just was really, I was just amazed. I was amazed. And then as I mentioned, just kind of watching her over time. Obviously, you see she's got lots of energy, but she's also transparent. So she's transparent sometimes on the days when it's not so good. And I feel
Yeah,
like that's what people need to see. They need to understand, yes, you can still recover. And this is for anybody, not just breast cancer,
right.
survivors, but you're going to have those days like that. And I think that's especially true for us as entrepreneurs. And so I
Yeah.
think it was very inspirational to me to be able to watch her journey.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Donzaleigh. So Donzaleigh has been with me from the very beginning. So she knows my journey pretty well, probably more than most people. So while I was going through the breast cancer journey, and like she said, I shared a lot. So, in the African American community, unfortunately, a lot of times we as women, we go through things like this, but we're not transparent because it can have a religious connotation. People feel guilty and feel like they're being punished for having certain diseases and things like that. But I asked God, I have a great relationship, a very personal relationship with him. And I said, God, if you allow me to go through this, if I have to go through this, allow me to go through this with as much grace as possible. And if you do that, I promise to you, I will always tell my story because I am a living miracle. And I want people to know that miracles still happen. He may not part the Red Sea and do all these different things now, but he performs miracles every day. And I was one of them. So I said, hey, let me get through this with grace. I don't want to go through it, but since you said I got to go through it, let's go. And
Yeah.
we did, and I'm so much better. So it's interesting for Donzaleigh to say that because it was when I look back on it, it was a very compelling story. I drove up to the guy's barbershop and I walked in. I was almost at the time I had braces, so I was on my way to the orthodontist. I was like, "Hey, dude, I need my hair cut." And he looked at me. He was like, "Lady, I don't cut women's hair." And I said, "No." And so sometimes I can be too matter of fact. And I was like, no, I have cancer. I need my hair cut off. And he was in shock. And he went into shock and he was like, oh my God. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll cut it for you. I'll cut it for you. He's like, oh, go do what you got to do and then come back. And he gently, and this still tugs at my heart because he did not have to be that kind and gentle with me, but he did. And he said, when I came back from the orthodontist, he said, come and sit in my chair. And he turned my chair away from the mirror while he cut my hair. And after he finished, because look, I had never been bald headed. I had short hair, but baby, I didn't know how many lumps and bumps and things I was gonna have up under there, right? So I didn't know what we was about to reveal. And so he turned me back around and I looked in the mirror and he's like, you're just as beautiful now with the bald head as you were before. And he started crying. Like
Mm.
this guy was very emotional. Now, this guy, if you know who this guy is and know the story, he is somebody, he's been an entrepreneur for a long time, but he's been in the streets too. So you just would never expect that. So he walked me out to my car and he said, if you need anything, if we need to do a fundraiser for you, if you need to do anything, let me know. And so from there, you get a lot of people coming in. One of those people was Donzaleigh, and then she was like, "How can I help you get through this?" And she helped me with the amazing photo shoot. You remember the photo shoot, Donzaleigh?
That
So
was a
she had
long time
photo
ago.
shoot. Yes. So she had somebody come in and do makeup and all this stuff. So it was just wonderful. So if there's ever a time that you get cancer, breast cancer, or whatever cancer it is, the way research has been set up and people have donated money and things have been done, it's no longer a death sentence. You can live and you can live a life more abundantly. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all, I look better now than I did before I had the cancer. See, I'm a whole lot finer now than I was then. Okay, so I got all that back, and we're gonna even work on it some more. But yeah, but that's the way God works. So I call it the unexpected gift because before I got sick, I had a lot of issues. I had generational curses. I had some low self esteem. I had all this stuff going on. And God said, baby, come here. I need your attention. And if He ever called for your attention, He will get it in any way possible. And He said, come here, baby. I need you right here. So He took me to the side. I need your full attention. and I need you to work on this because we gotta break some generational curses. So my journey included a year and a half of chemo. It included a double mastectomy, 6 weeks of radiation, and a three-part reconstruction of my breast. I went through that with no problems. Never a day in the hospital, besides the time that I needed to be there. No problems whatsoever. The doctors are amazed at my progress, but I was like, honey, I knew all along. I knew Jesus, and he told me I was going to be all right. So I kind of went into it with the aspect I never thought I was going to die. Maybe I should have thought I was going to die. I never thought I was going to die. And then the way people spoke into me, I had a nurse. The first day she saw me, she said, it ain't nothing about you that says cancer. And from then on out, it was over for me. I knew I was going to win this journey. That was it. So people speaking into you, I didn't get through this alone. I shared my journey, and people like Donzaleigh poured into me. You're home, you're getting gifts every day, you're getting cards, you're getting messages, you're getting prayers. It takes a community. And we as women have to start sharing our stories and telling people what we need. How can we help each other? And that's what God has guided me to do. And that's what I'm doing.
As you were going, you gave us a little bit of your journey, but I want to kind of go back to prior to learning that you
Okay.
had cancer. Like, were there any signs of anything that you were feeling or how you felt prior to being diagnosed with the cancer?
Yeah, it's crazy. So at the age of 34, my mom dropped dead on my 34th birthday. So I went into a depression. So I was really depressed during that time. So when I got to be 39, something came to me and was like, Celeste, your mom wouldn't want you to feel like this. She wouldn't want you to be depressed. So you need to get yourself together. So at the age of 39, I started working out. I started juicing. And it's like God was kind of getting me prepared for what was to come. So I started doing all this exercising, and believe it or not, they say exercise is supposed to make you feel better. You eat right, it's supposed to make you feel better. Well, I was still feeling tired, but I thought I was feeling tired because I was working out with these young girls, and here I am, I'm 40, almost 40, and I'm thinking, honey, these young girls ain't gonna outwork me. I'm gonna work out just as hard, and I'm gonna do as much work so I can work out with them. So I felt a lot of fatigue um, in the days and the weeks leading up to it, and I also felt what I thought was a bug bite on my left breast, and I thought it was just a bug bite. That year, we had a lot of problems with bugs in the area, and I thought I had a bug bite on my breast. And then my girlfriend called me one day, and she was like, "Hey, y'all, I had a scare, and I'm going to call, and I'm calling everybody to say." Go get your mammograms. So when she told me that, I was like, ugh, maybe I should go ahead and call my primary care physician. So I called my primary care physician. She said, get in here immediately. So I think the next day I was at the doctor's office. She checked me. She said, I think it's a cyst, but you're 40. So we're going to send you on over to get your mammogram and get an ultrasound. Baby, my life changed that day. So I went in there. My dad was sick at the time, so I didn't want to tell my family. So one of my friend girls went with me. I went and had the mammogram. Then they did the ultrasound. And let me tell y'all, the feeling was eerie. Something did not feel right. The next hour, they came out to me and said, we need to do a biopsy. We need to call your insurance to get authorization to do a biopsy right now. So I'm telling you this because it's never heard of. You never go in and get a mammogram, an ultrasound, and a biopsy on the same day. Never. So by that next week, I had been diagnosed. I went back. I had them call me into the office. They said, ma'am, you in fact do have breast cancer. I said, look, I've been training for a run in Atlanta, and I done bought my outfit and my shoes. So this was August. I said, can we go ahead and do this surgery so I can do my run next month? And the doctor looked at me like, Heifer, did you hear what I just said? And so she was like, baby, ma'am, I think you're gonna need to cancel all of that. I had no idea that I was in store for a 5, 6 year journey. I had no idea what it was about because guess what? Nobody talks about it.
One of the things that I really want you to share, and I talk about it often to other people, especially when I see people using certain products. Like I'm quick to say, "Hey, are you looking at?" I am. I promise. I do it all the time. Have you looked at the back of that? Do you know what's in? I started that. So if you could please share what some of the things that you were doing prior to, and how you ended up that leading
Yeah.
to Miriam
Yeah.
B.
So I've always loved skincare products. Always. My dad, I remember when I was a teenager, I was like 13 or 14, I had low self esteem and I would wear makeup. And so I had this aunt, this great aunt, who said, if this child is going to wear makeup, you need to go make sure that she doesn't mess up her skin and learns how to apply the makeup correctly. So my dad drove me to Knoxville to go to fashion fair, and they gave me a skincare regimen and a makeup regimen that I could wear every day. So that was the beginnings of my journey. But as I keep, I'm maturing, I'm getting older, and I kept that same low self esteem and I was trying to dress a certain way, wear the makeup, do these things to my hair. I was doing all these things to feel accepted because I didn't accept myself. I wore the certain clothes, I wore the certain shoes, I lived in a high rise, I did it. So I was doing all of this stuff to mask my insecurities, to feel secure. And so, if there was a product out there that they said would make my hair longer, would make me look younger, would make my skin shiny, or whatever it was, I used it. I never looked at a label. And one of the biggest things that I would do is I would use hair products that had placenta in it. Well, placenta comes from a woman's body and it acts, you putting it on your head, everything is going into your body from your head. And guess what? It's hormones, estrogen. And so the doctors thought I had a certain type of cancer because that's normally the type of cancer that African American women get. But I had the type of cancer that normally a middle-aged white woman gets, and it was estrogen positive. So
Wow.
yeah, it was crazy. So me, I was kind of angry because you're telling me that in the United States, in this day and time, that you're putting products on the market for people that are full of carcinogens. And if it's made for a black woman, don't use it. If it's made specifically and you don't do your research and read it and read those ingredients on the back, don't use it because they have more carcinogens and we use the products more often, which is why we end up having higher incidences of cancer. Now, it used to be more white women got the breast cancer because of these toxins and these products and us getting all to it. We're having higher incidences as well as we have higher death rates because a lot of times we don't have the insurance or we don't want to follow the plans of treatments that the doctors give us. So
Wow.
yeah, mine was a fluke. My girlfriend called and she was like, go get checked. I never would have gotten checked. I never did my checks. And my first mammogram, I'm diagnosed with stage 3B. There's only 4 stages. So for me to be here, and my doctors, we laugh about it. I was like, you better be nice to me because I'm one of God's special children. And one day she got real serious with me and she was like, based on what's in this chart right here, baby, you are.
Mhm.
So they told me we'll do all that we can to save you, but we do not know what your quality of life will be moving forward.
Mm.
Well, God said different. So here I am. So while I was sick, my family's crazy. And they were like, we know you sick, but you ain't that sick. So you need to find you something to do while you laying around. Oh, I'm just laying around. I'm fighting for my life. So anyway, my aunt it suggested I learned another language, and I didn't want to learn another language. So I started studying butters and oils from Africa, from the women from Africa and Asia and India, because they have this beautiful skin and they take all these amazing ingredients from the land
Mhm.
and they're beautiful. So I was like, I can do the same thing. I can take these ingredients from the land and make it luxurious skincare products, products that are safe for people to use, that they can use, and they work. And so that was my goal. I had to. A lot of people used to use the black soap and the shea butter, and they got sick of it. They didn't work, or it burned, and this and that. And I was like, oh no, 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 we're not doing that. We bringing all that back. We're going back to the motherland because we're gonna use what our people gave us. And I said one of my biggest goals is to make black soap and shea butter sexy again, and that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Awesome. 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 Awesome.
Yeah, so she has a extensive line at this point. Like I said, I've seen it grow. I
Yes.
am the whipped butter. That's my fave. Even though I love tons of things that she has, that has always been a go-to for me. So I don't use regular lotion. I use the whipped butter.
And so let me tell the story. It was funny starting my journey. One of the first things I made was the butter, deodorant, and then butter. And honey, it was the biggest mess. I started making butters in the summertime, and I was
Mm,
using coconut oil. And as soon as I would ship them out, they would melt. And I was
mm.
like, oh man, what in the world? But I said, you know what, Jesus, at the time, I worked for corporate America. So I was like, you know what, Jesus, I don't need this because I got a job and I got an income. So I'm not going through all this. And he said, wait a minute, girl, sit down. And he started revealing all these amazing butters that
Mm.
people don't usually use. And so I've got a sow butter, I've got a ukumba butter, I've got a kokum butter, I've got all these amazing butters and oils that he revealed to me. And he's like, and you're not selling butter in the summer. We saving that for the fall and the winter. You're gonna make a dry oil for the summertime that you're gonna sell. So then he just started downloading all these ideas. And as Donzaleigh would tell you, I've got all these products. I love creating these products. And as I'm learning more and more, I'm learning that I have this connection with my African people. And I'm looking at some of the stuff that they're making, and I'm like, wow, I learned to make that. I did it, and I have this connection. So man, this journey has been crazy. I wouldn't wish breast cancer on anybody. Let me say that. But he needed my attention, and the journey afterwards has been amazing.
Mhm.
So the entrepreneurship came from this time, this season of respite, or what was supposed to be respite, while
Mhm.
you were recovering and going through this season.
Well, and it's funny. See, everything ties together because before I got sick, I remember driving to work plenty of days and being like, Lord, it's got to be more to my life than this. I don't
Mm,
think this is all that I'm set up to do and be, but I don't know what it's going to be. But he said, think of a business name. And I did. And I put the name Miriam, because that's my name, and I put the initial B. So it was Miriam B on my car tag.
we have the same initials.
Real, yeah, MB. So he said, put Miriam B on your car tag. I said, okay, Jesus, I don't like that name. People ain't gonna know what the hell a Miriam B is, but I'm a obey. Put it on my car tag, and it was a topic of discussion. People would be like, "What does that say? What's it?" And I was like, "It's my name, and it's gonna be a business one day. I don't know what kind of business it's gonna be. I'm just being obedient. God told me to put it on here, and He said, when you want to manifest something, you need to see it all the time, right? So, the name of my company to begin with was
Wait a
Miriam
minute, let's
B.
stop right there. I think they call that's a gem.
Okay,
That when you want to manifest something, you need to
you have
see
to
it
see it.
all the time.
Mm.
Yes,
That's so good. That's so
yes.
good. Sorry to interrupt you, but
Oh, that's
I
cool. Just
wanted to
interrupt.
repeat that. I wanted to repeat
Yes.
that.
And so it was on my car. I had even thought about colors. I had talked about jewel colors of red and green and didn't have no clue what it was going to be. But anywho, the only thing that he changed was he changed it from Miriam B, the B, initial B period, to Miriam
Hmm.
B E period. He said, because your message, it relates to you, but it also relates to other women. So when he said, I told you I've dealt with generational curses and low self esteem, and he downloaded into me and said, you can do and be, period. Anything that you want
Mm.
to be. Yeah, you got to do the work, but you can do it. And so for our young ladies who are in this world of social media and all this craziness that's going on, we have to download into them that they can do and be anything and everything they want to be, and get them away from that. We have to put it in them, in their soul, in their spirit, because guess what they get from social media is comparison, and then it makes you feel worse. Hell, I'm 50 years old and I do the same thing. Some days I'm like, shut it down, because you getting in a tunnel, you going down. And so he said this is also a testimony to young women and also women my age who are still dealing with stuff. You can be. A lot of people ask me, you're 50 years old and you're going through this? I didn't know it had a time frame.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I can do and be anything that I want to be because he told me I can.
That's good. That is so good. So good. So good. We could just probably keep going the rest of the night, but we got to bring it home here because what I want you to do is, take some time out. And what would you say to the lady who just got diagnosed?
So the lady who just got diagnosed is very overwhelmed. Um, I want her to immediately look to the positive side of things. When you're first getting diagnosed, they're giving you all this information and they're giving you the worst case scenario. So I want them to keep that in mind. But one thing that my dad did for me the whole time, what is your vista? Through this entire process, I had to imagine my end. And so I want them to remember to imagine what you're going to do when this is all over, how you're going to look, what you want to do, where you want to go, and stay focused on that. A lot of my healing had to do with my positive mindset, to not getting caught up in other people's stories. Don't listen to nobody else's journey. Everybody's journey is unique, but stay focused on being positive. Try to keep as much as your routine as you can, and spend that time with God. Get the lessons that He wants for you during this time, because there's a lesson and there's a blessing in all that you'll be going through.
That's good. That's good. What would you say to the lady who is now at the point where she has to cut her hair? And she's heard her entire life that the woman's hair is her crown.
Is her crown, man? It's a show on Hulu. Oprah just did a show on the crown. So let it go, man. Just even not only so we're talking about the hair, but let's just really quick the breasts, the attachment to the breasts. A lot of women will
Mm.
not cut their breast off, their attachment, and that can cause a lot of problems too. Let it go. So when I was going through, uh, by the time I finished with my chemo, my breast was sagging down to my stomach, right? So I was like, hey, cut them things off and give me some new ones. So you just have to find the positive in it. You know what? Everybody wears wigs now. So you can cut your hair off and then you can wear any kind of fly wig that you want to wear. Because at the time, for me, wigs weren't as popular as they are now. But so what happened during my process as I'm healing, I wore all these different hairstyles. And then I started wearing this curly hair, and then this hair started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I love it. The bigger it is, the closer I am to God. Yeah. So, yeah. So, and now this is kind of being, this is part of Miriam Be. Like when people see me out, they're like, hey, that's Miriam Be, because they know me by my hair. So it's kind of come a part of my business. So it's just amazing how God brings everything around full swing. So this was part of it. So a big question that people have is this my hair? Absolutely not. I have medical induced alopecia, but I buy it. I pay for it. So, and I wear it well. So yes.
And then my last question would be what would you say to the lady who's coming out, who's just ended her therapy and now she's looking at life a little bit differently?
Oh, this is her second act. Take advantage. Do whatever. Do what in the hell you want to do. If you got through that, you deserve to do whatever you want to do. This is my second act. I got a second opportunity. And so part of how I got here is that I work for an amazing company. I have nothing bad to say about them. As a matter of fact, for a while, I was even working at home. They bought me a desk, office, and everything to work at home. I did eventually ended up getting laid off. And I said, you know what? This second part of my life, I'm going to bet on me. And so I decided to go full time into my company, and I have just grown tremendously. I've grown more and more. I've learned more and more about myself, and we could talk about the entrepreneurs thing another time. But baby, I think the cancer was easier to beat than doing this entrepreneur thing. So,
You doing it though.
but that's another story for another time because we in here. Yes, 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 yes.
Donzaleigh, anything else you want to share or ask?
I just kind of as closing out for me. We already kind of talked about her products and things like that. And I'll just say one of my favorite things to give people is her products. Like, because not only do I know the level of quality, but it also sparks that conversation. So when I give it, it is because again, we just go through life. We're not thinking about what's in our shampoo, what's in our, we get so accustomed to hearing these hallmark names, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna name any, but the toothpaste brands, you see that
Mm-hmm.
marketing, and you don't think anything. You feel like you should be safe,
Right.
and I feel like that's an opportunity to maybe wake somebody up to say, let me double
Yes.
check this.
Yeah. Don't go through what I went through. I got I tell people all the time, I have a multi-million-dollar body, baby. At this day and age, you got to have the right health care. You got to have the right advocates to save you. And fortunately, during that time, I had amazing insurance and I had amazing advocates. I had top-notch doctors. I had it
Mm.
all. I couldn't have asked for a better team of of doctors for me. And that's how I know it was God sent. So absolutely, if I can just get people to read the labels, I want you to buy my product, absolutely. But if you can read the labels and it's somebody else's product that you want more than mine, I'm fine with that too. I just want you and your family to have some peace, to learn about a lifestyle of eating healthier, of exercising, using great skincare products. And another one of my taglines is beauty is power. So we want to look amazing. My products are effective. I want you to get your glow on. My tagline is where we heal the skin so that it is healthy, happy, and it glows.
We want to thank you for joining us for the MPower Show and this episode, bringing awareness around breast cancer. But before we go, why don't you share with us how can we stay in contact with you, find your products, where are you on social media, all of those good things.
Absolutely. And thank you all so much for having me. This was amazing. So you can find me at my main business is e-commerce at miriambe.com. And that's MIRIAMBE.com. That's my website. I'm on Instagram at Miriam Be Glow. And I am on Facebook just as Miriam B. And I would love to give you a consult. If you have questions, let me know. We'll get you all hooked up. I do have a few products let me mention this, at the Alchemy Cafe in downtown Nashville. And that address is 555 Church Street. 555 Church Street in downtown Nashville. So again, thank you all so much for having me, for thinking about us breast cancer survivors. And I'm excited to see this and to see where y'all show goes. I'm super duper excited. So everything that Donzaleigh is doing is turning to gold. Are you ready for that, Markeith?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Because if everything turns for gold for Donzaleigh, everything turns to platinum for me.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Hey, because I'm on the train. I'm
and
going
we
to.
and we and we're going there together. We're going there together.
Yes.
That's why I asked
Yes.
her to be a part of the show. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
before we go, at the end of every show, Donzaleigh and I always share something inspirational before we leave. And I'm just going to steal mine from Miriam B. She said, in order to manifest anything, you need to see it as often as you can. And so if
Yes.
you can't see it, it's very difficult for you to achieve it. And so, whatever it is that you want to do in life, whatever it is that you want to manifest in your reality, you need to first make sure that you have the vision for it, feel it, see it in your mind's eye, and
Mm,
then put some action to everything that you see. And I
Yes.
promise you, you'll see the manifestation.
Yes.
Donzaleigh?
Yes. So mine, I looked at earlier. It's if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And the reason I want to, and that's by Milton Berle. But one of the things that I found is Celeste alluded to it earlier. So you can get to those points where you kind of want to quit, or you run into those stumbling blocks. So whether you have cancer or you just are a regular everyday person that hasn't been through anything, everyone comes to those points in life, and you just got to make it happen. Just keep going. I love to say quit quitting.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we thank you for joining us. Keep in mind and know that we'll have show notes in the description of the video and also timestamps. So you can go to the various aspects of the video that you want to in case you don't want to watch the whole video. And we're also going to live stream this video because I think it's important that everyone gets to see this on multiple platforms. So until next week, just remember this: always shoot for the top because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. Take care.